Hello everybody, welcome back. A little bit early, as in like 2 minutes early, and I'll tell you why. Is because I'm not entirely feeling very well. My little baby daughter's thrown up all over me a couple of days in a row, and I'm just thinking, she's just eating something dodgy. I think she's got a bug, and I'm feeling it now. So I'll see how far I can go on. Anyway. Thanks for joining me, and hopefully I won't throw up on the live stream. You're joining me at what looks to be like a bit of a pivotal moment here, because I'm staring at Bitcoin, and what's going on is it's trying to hold this area. This is the 10 exponential moving average, but also if you go to the daily, what we're looking at as well is this was basically the daily open. So it's like a pretty pivotal moment. If this breaks down, I would imagine we come down to 35. And then probably spring back up from 35, so that's a pretty steep drop. If we do that, we might see that. We might actually see that any minute. So that's where I would imagine us go. But again, that's a really strong area to hold where it is. So that'll be a 10% drop from where we are at right now, and that's not anything special, obviously. But that, like I say, that's the daily open, exactly where we're trying to hold there. Daily open is also the 4-hourly 10 exponential moving average. So yeah, pretty impressive time to start the live stream. I've got my other computer next to me, so if you see me sort of like duck away at the side, it's because I'm opening some longs if we come down and break down. And again, where we just saw that 35 zone is pretty much more or less, within a fraction of a percent really of this green 50 exponential moving average on the 4-hourly. And actually, when I was looking at the 4-hourly, just as in like quite recently, we do have a bit of bearish divergence in play. And actually, when you look at this on the lower time frames, when we go down to hourlies, it's not looking very healthy either. Yeah, I mean, we're breaking down, I suppose. There is a very strong chance that we do take this plunge now, and if we do take the plunge, it would be, in my opinion, an opportunity to buy back. There's very likely to be a bounce, and let's just have a quick look at what the minions are doing. So the minions are dropping off their longs at the moment, getting a little bit scared, but I imagine that this won't be too much of a calamity event. Anyway, an interesting time to do a live stream nonetheless. So thanks for joining. Like I say, we'll have a look at some of these coins, shall we? We'll go through the list one by one. And again, we are looking like we could dump. This area specifically is extremely strong, as in right now. But if it breaks down, then a 10% drop would not surprise me at all. But am I in a position to go long or short? No, I'm doing a live stream, and that's fine. That's completely fine. For those who don't know, I've started a Patreon account just yesterday. It's pretty much got nothing on it at the moment, so I'm not offended if you don't join up. But what you will be getting on there is some let's call it exclusive content. There'll be YouTube videos on there that will obviously come from my YouTube. They'll be unlisted though, so you will only be able to see them from the Patreon, and they're going to be what people have been asking for a long time, which is I suppose tutorials in a way. So rather than me setting up a Udemy course and things like that, which people are saying, oh, you should do that, this, that and the other, I think what I'll do is I'll set up a Patreon. I'll have tutorials on there, and the live stream that you're seeing like right now, I'll be doing 2 of these each week, so you can ask me anything you want, and again, that'll only be available for people who are on the Patreon, and it's £7.50 a month. So for that you get, you'll be getting those tutorials, as many as I can create, I suppose. I aim to create a brand new one every week, so this will be stuff like moving averages, other indicators, how I scalp, all kinds of little things, about how I go about charting and working out price action and stuff like that. But again, it is £7.50, and I noticed that if America's in a bit of a sorry state, so was it the jobs market collapsed again today, so which I think has had a bit of an impact on the market in general. So I appreciate everyone's in a tricky situation. So right, so that's Bitcoin out of the way, and again, this is going to be a real weird live stream to do because we are facing what could be a considerable drop at the moment. But overall, this is how I'm seeing the market. Okay, Bitcoin dominance poking its head into, so I suppose getting rejected from this zone, but it very much looks like if we did do a dump, we'd probably see a spike all the way up to the top here. That would then correspond to what I would say would be a renaissance of alts. So an alt season would then kick off. and that's basically the Bitcoin dominance area for me, and that's basically how I see the situation. So everything can dump, alts dump massively, Bitcoin dumps 10%, alts dump 20%, then that's the time to really go hard and heavy on your alts. The Dixie, again, I was thinking this is going to bounce, and I still think it will, but we're on Friday now, so I'm not entirely sure it's going to bounce too hard, because we're going to close this obviously over the weekend, and I was thinking we were probably going to come up to here eventually, 91.6, and I think we probably will, but it's been a slow push at the moment. Right then, should we start with CNS then, shall we? Right, I don't know why I'm doing this, but the CNS doesn't look very good, unfortunately. It looks pretty bad, but if we zoom in close enough, it still looks bad, to be honest with you. 0.00014 was the low, double bottom, triple bottom. This could break down further, but you know, if it did, it would essentially go to zero. If we were to reclaim this, which is the 10 exponential moving average, reclaim it, then and then basically bounce in between these zones, there might be a recovery. But from what I noticed, the trading volume is like $6,000. So, you know, buy. You could spend a tenner on it. Hopefully, you'll double that, and see where you go from there. That's pretty much all I got for you, I'm afraid. But I noticed that they've started selling, swapping your Bitcoin for CNS. So I don't know how long this has been going on for, but clearly for quite a while actually. I missed that. So if you want to sell a valuable asset for a least valuable asset, this is probably the best thing to do. That's what I would do if I were you. So let's have a look at these bad boys. I'm on the 15-minute chart because I was doing a little bit of trading before we started. So unfortunately we're breaking down beneath the 10 exponential, the 200 moving average on XRP, right? So it doesn't look very good. We were rejected clearly from the 50, and now we're holding, I suppose, the center of the Bollinger Band, which is downwards facing, which doesn't look very good. I would actually probably say that this one's almost certainly destined to come back down to these lower levels, maybe 26, maybe 24, but that would be in the face of this drop, and then it would probably be worth picking it up again, because the volatility that came back into this the other day was like 40% in a day. I would imagine it would bounce pretty aggressively, you know, just because of that, not because of any other reason, just because the volatility came back into XRP. You'd probably catch a really nice bounce from that. Actually, it looks like we're testing that area again. So you know, the more times you test a support zone, the more likely it is to break down. So we might actually see this massive breakdown soon, and if that happens, then we might see this plan of mine play out. This doesn't mean that there's no alt season. Doesn't mean that at all. In fact, this could start an alt season. I know that sounds crazy, but that's basically how it could play out. If we break down from here, this shoots up to here. Alts crash massively, then you basically go in on them, and the alt season will kick off. So that's basically how I'm seeing this one playing out now. I don't think we're going to reclaim this tonight. We don't think we're going to close above that tonight. I think we're probably destined to come back down to 27, maybe 24. That's XRP, unfortunately, you know, and that's XRP for you. But let's look at EOS. EOS again. This is on the hourly chart. If we do break down, we'll be breaking down significantly from here. This won't hold. So we'll have to look at the higher time frames here. A 4-hourly would tell me that even though we've got a golden cross, we get a lot of these false signals with EOS, and this is something I've been trying to explain to people. You know, I am bullish on EOS because of the long term. This is the daily, so I am bullish on it. This is the accumulation zone, but when you've got moving averages basically going all over the place, there's no edge to it. You can't really. It's very hard to trade it. So it's near impossible to trade it. It's basically following the market and then not really doing a very good job of it. So that's what it's trying to do. But you see, we've got a golden cross here and we've got a death cross here. We've got a golden cross here. They don't mean anything, unfortunately, at the moment. The thing I'm looking for is this, and again, you know, it looks like we might have to wait another week. We've still got the weekend to go through. Weekends are often bullish by nature, but we need to really close, you know, above this, in this zone up here, above these zones, above these moving averages. Not only because closing above moving averages is good, but we want to forge this Ichimoku cloud cross, the conversion and the baseline cross on the weekly. That's what we want to see, and that to me would say that this one's ready to start making stair steps up. So the opposite of what's been going on over the last 3 years. So that's why I'm fundamentally bullish on it. What's my Bityard referral? Are you in my Telegram? I'll post a link on my Telegram for you. In fact, there should be links in the video below. I've got referral links on all these videos, so go on there and have a look at that. I don't know if anyone has actually done that thing. I made a video, was it yesterday, about that copy trader guy? Well, he came through for us today, hasn't he? He's done all right. He's a good lad. So yeah, get yourself on Bityard. Don't go crazy. I mean, Bityard, it stops you from going crazy. I think the max you can put into a copy trader is like $400, which is still significant because some of these guys are using like 50x leverage and that. So, but yeah, don't go crazy on it. But it's a nice little tool to your tool belt, especially if you're like me and too busy with kids and work and cooking and cleaning, like some maid and nanny. Then you know, I basically give a portion of my tether over to Bityard and allow that guy to trade it now. I'm quite happy with that. Right, Ethereum then. Shall we? Let's have a look at Ethereum. Again, we are staring down the barrel of a gun, I have to say. So let's have a look at Ethereum. I mean, the weekly is obviously pretty good. Let's start with a daily. Right, so the daily's already come down to test the 7 simple moving average and bounced really well from it. But the fact that we came all that way down from 16%, you know, if we break down like Bitcoin looks like it wants to do, this one's probably going to come down a bit further than that, probably to the 10. Maybe a little further. 10 exponential, that looks okay to me. Let's have a look at these bad boys here. Money flow index is very high, highest it's been in its entire life. So that in itself is a warning. Let's have a look at the weekly. So it's not so bad on the weekly, but on the daily it's pretty high. Let's go to the 4 hourly. And on the 4 hourly, breaking down beneath the Bollinger Band, that's not good. And probably, you know, I think this dump is going to play out. So this one's going to be, I think this one's going to be significant. We'll be coming down to, yeah, we'll probably have a wick below 1,000, probably any minute. To be honest with you, doesn't look like this is going to hold, and then likely bounce. So if that is 1,024, do we have anything that corresponds to 1,024? Not particularly, but the 10 exponential kind of does. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking for a dump on the market. It looks like it wants to happen any minute, and if it does, then yeah, 1,024, maybe a spike below it, but candle body coming back up above it, and then probably, just as everything is and everything does recently, just go up again. You know, just go up again. Let's have a look what's going on. Let's see what the minions are doing at the moment. Oh, they're going long. The minions are going long, so the daily close looks like it really wants to hold here. Interesting time to do a live stream. Right, so that, I mean, Ethereum, like I say, on pretty much all these time frames doesn't look too great. Bearish divergence here. MACD looks like it wants to cross down. Let's have a look on an hourly. It's really tough one to call. I mean, that everything's bullish by nature, you know. This could be some form of inverse head and shoulders, but it looks like that's broken away now as we have gone down, you know, this far. So Ethereum's looking, it's got a lot of warning signs, you know, a 30-minute chart, all these moving averages crossing, being rejected from the majority of them. Oh, cheers mate, thank you for the donation. One thing I would say is that I really appreciate donations on in any form, but what I would say is save it. All right, I like it. It's nice, and I'm really grateful. But don't do it. And I'll tell you the main reason is that actually, when it comes to actually not only half of that comes to me. Like, well, 60% only comes to me. The rest of it goes to YouTube. You know, we don't need to feed Google any more money, do we? So, but I really appreciate the gesture. So thanks a lot. My expectations of Bitcoin top and retracement and XRP short term. Thanks. Right. Okay. Well, I can't tell you the figure. This is one thing that I'm always trying to explain. I can't tell you the figure of where the top will be. I can't give you a price. What I can tell you is when the risk is high, that's how I trade. All right, so try not to. I think it's one of the worst things to do unless you've got price targets from historical figures, which we don't here. We're playing in a blue sky breakout, so we don't know exactly what the figures are. You can do Fibonacci tools on it, but personally, when you're this bullish, they are okay. But the best thing to do in my mind is to not look for a figure, a price target, because that's what everybody's trying to do. And you can see how almost we reject now. We'll go to an hourly. We almost reject at round figures, and this is human nature for you. Right? This is exactly what humans do. We like round figures. We're simple animals. All right. So a lot of these dumps have taken place at round figures. Like what's this one here? Not exactly, but more or less 33,000 and a dump. What was this one around here? Well, I'm pushing it a bit, but we've got a dump roughly around 35,000. What was this one around here? 40,000. Yeah, you could say that. We dumped at 40,000, and this one here, 42,000. So, humans, that's what we do. We're not that complex. We like round figures, and that's basically what seems to be happening. So that would suggest that every time we reach a nice round figure, people will front run it ever so slightly. So if we were to go to, let's say, 45,000, we'll probably dump at around about 44,900. You get what I mean? But I can't give you a top. I can't. It's not possible. I've been trying to think that there's a top every time we make an all-time high. It's not really possible. But what I will say is this, and I've said this on my channel before. You look at the risk, right? You look at what you're going to get back from this, and I know that everyone is FOMOing, and that's the whole point of FOMO, the fear of missing out, right? So this was our top on the money flow index 2017. This is the top 2019, and this, we're not there yet, but we will be soon. And again, we're splitting hairs here. Is this 95 read different to a 95.8 or a 96 read? We're pushing here. We're pushing. So what could happen? I'm not saying that when we reach that we will dump. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that we're at a very risky level. So it's anything that we do now is overshadowed by the enormous level of risk. So the top could be now. This could be the top. The top could be tomorrow at 45. The top could be next week at 50. But I can't. There's no one's going to be able to give you a figure. But what I would say is that people seem to be playing. Bitcoin seems to be playing with round figures because we're simple like that. And what I'd say is, if this starts to go up, think of round figures, because that's what everybody else is going to be doing, and that's how this game is being played at the minute. So people are front running the round figure. 42,000. What we dumped at 49,950 or something silly like that. It was pretty much on the dot there. Yeah, 41,962. So you see where I'm coming from. We're going to dump from what I would imagine be a round figure, but it looks like we are going to dump now. To be honest with you, I think that's what's going to happen. We are going to dump, and again, we will dump down to probably around about 35, I would imagine. What was the other question you said about my expectations for Bitcoin top and retrace? Yeah, so I got that. And short term, XRP short term. Well, I kind of went through it a minute back. Short term, if we dump, we come back down to these support levels. I think all of these will get broken down, and then we'll probably rally immediately afterwards, but probably not that great. And that's only because the volatility sort of came back into this the other day, and people won't want to miss out on that. So people will be buying again, I would imagine, going long and going crazy on XRP, like some feeding frenzy down at these low levels, and it will increase volatility. But until we reclaim this and close above here, which is the 200 exponential, a nice close above there, I'm not particularly massively bullish on it really. But the chart is readable, so that's we've got that in our favour. You know, we are getting rejections from specific places, and hopefully we'll be getting supports from specific places. I mean, even this wick down here corresponds to the accumulation zone back down here, so the chart is still in play, you know, despite falling from the sky. So it's good. I mean, in that respect, it is good. We can trade it. It's not it's not madness. You know, this chart has method to it. Right, let's have a look then. What else have we got here? Sorry, I'm just going through some of these questions, mate. What do I think of DNT? Never heard of it. Never heard of it. Let's have a look at it, shall we? Well, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say about that. I got no idea what to say about it. Personally, you know, unless you were in, I would leave it alone. I got no idea what to say on that one. What the hell happened here? That's unbelievable. So again, you know, when you see a chart like this, you know, this is, you know, it's very tempting to get into it, but you know, for me, you know, I trade not specifically, you know, particularly on prices. I trade on levels of risk, and this one looks pretty risky to me. But you know, technical analysis will, you know, it does exist still, even on something that looks like this. So I would look at your moving averages. I'd look at the center of the Bollinger Band, your 20 moving average. I'd look at, you know, the ones below that, which is the 50 exponential, the 200 exponential. But coming up this far, what's the volume on this? Pretty high, but not massive. It's reasonable though. I mean, the chart looks like it's going to have to come down, unfortunately. So, but you know, it's difficult to trade something like this. This is just madness, all right? This is complete madness. There is method to what we're looking at as far as finding supports are concerned. There's method to that. Again, this is blue sky breakout. Never been up here to my knowledge. Certainly not been up there. Well, since it came onto it. But I can't give you any realistic opinion on it, to be honest with you. You could try and play bounces. The obvious place would be at 10 cent. Again, a round figure corresponds to the center of that Bollinger Band. Then, you know, these moving averages. There's nothing more to say on that. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I can't go into details on that one. Yeah, madness. Right, what else have we got here? ZIL. Let's have a look at ZIL. And I think this is madness too, actually, from the last time I looked at it. Let's see if it's come back down to earth. Right, so this is an example about how something can go mad. This is a bit more structured, but it's still madness. And now what we're doing is we're coming down to these moving averages. These are the sort of things that I'll be making tutorials on my Patreon. All right, so like I say, it's simple stuff, right? It's very basic. It's simple stuff, and the reason it works is because everybody does it. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. You know, these are the basic indicators that most people will use for guessing within a reasonable amount of statistical likelihood of there being a support at these places. The obvious place for everything would be at the center of a Bollinger Band, all right, and which is what seems to have happened here. So the Bollinger Band has caught up with the price action, so it more or less did it here, it did it here, and now, you know, because of the pressures of Bitcoin, it looks like we're unfortunately might end up breaking down from beneath it. Statistically, you know, when using Bollinger Bands, if you're above the Bollinger Band, you're more likely to stay above the Bollinger Band, so the odds are in your favor if you want to try and make a play when you're above the Bollinger Band. I think it's 65% or more likely to remain in which half of the Bollinger Band it's in, and that doesn't really, you know, obviously that's only 65%. It's not a great statistical likelihood, but it's good enough. So that would work on any time frame as well, whether it's 5 minute, 15 minute, hourly, 4 hourly, daily, weekly. It's how it works. Statistically, you know, there's no guarantees, but statistically you're more likely to make a decent play if it comes back down when the Bollinger Band, especially in this case, unfortunately, you know, if Bitcoin breaks down, then this wouldn't work, but that's how it would play. So this, if Bitcoin behaves itself, this would be the area, because it's still bullish. All the moving averages, essentially most of them anyway, are still moving up. The important ones are the bigger time frames, but we are beneath the 10. So what this would mean to me would be, you could try a long or buying in at this here. Now we do have some other things at play. The MACD is quite steeply crossed, but we are in pretty bullish territory, so that's only to be expected. What's the retracement on this one so far? It's quite big, 30%. So yeah, again, statistically, you could go in on this one right here and expect a bounce and maybe a continuation above this, and beyond. Who knows? But we all have to respect what the granddad of cryptocurrency is doing, and if he wants to go down, this one will also go down. But if it went down, we've got other areas to pick up at, which would be 5 cent basically. And again, these are figures today. There'll be different figures tomorrow because these moving averages are moving up, and this is only on the daily. So what I would do at this point, again, these will all be part of my tutorials you'll find on Patreon if you remember. But you look for, essentially, you'll be looking for other corresponding moving averages and historical price action to hopefully all compound in one area, and then that would make it a much stronger support level. So what we have here is the 200 exponential on the 4 hourly. It's 6 cent, so it's not an exact science, but between 5 and 6 cent would be the next area to buy it back at if it breaks down. But who knows? It's just that's how I would play it. So that's ZIL out of the way. Like I say, it's a risky business because of Bitcoin, but now would be one time to do it. And everybody plays with cryptocurrency differently, but for me, if there's something that I got my eye on, something that I believe in, something that I think is going to work out really well, and I've done my research and I like the fundamentals, which I don't do very often, but if I have a very strong feeling about something, what I'll do is I'll stagger my buys. You know what I mean? You don't have to go all in at one place. You can go 25% here. If it goes down further, no problem, another 25%. If it goes down further, no problem, another 25%. And at the end of the day, if it doesn't fill all your orders, no problem. If it's going back up again, buy it back. Don't put all your eggs in one basket, is what I'm saying. Anyway, that's ZIL out of the way. VET. Let's have a look at VET then, shall we, mate? VET. So remember the last time I did a live stream, I said this one looked pretty good, and someone, I haven't looked at this since last summer, and that's when it really did a big move actually back in the summer. I haven't looked at it since then, but on my last live stream, someone told me to look at it, and I was like, yeah, it looks really good. Unfortunately, I didn't get involved in it. I kind of forgot all about it after the live stream, but whoever that was that wanted me to look at it, I hope you did well on it. I'm sure you did. So again, this one is following nice stair steps up on the essentially on the bullish moving averages, which is the 10 exponential and the 7 basic moving average, 7 simple. So nice move there. Come back down to test it. Back up, come back down, essentially to test it, all the way up, and now we come back down to test it again here. So if Bitcoin behaves itself, that would be the area to go back in again. No reason to dispute that, really. RSI looks okay, it's not diverging in any way. Money flow index was pretty high, but I'm sure it could. It's resetting quite nicely, and this is staggered as well, so you could probably find some form of trend line, even though it's not an exact thing going on here. Yeah, maybe it's broken, but that's okay. Like I say, the money flow index is just it's just one little indicator that I use frequently, but it's not the be all and end all. It's one of the best indicators I use to spot a top, really, or to say, right, get out now, sort of thing. It's better for spotting tops than it's better for stopping for finding bottoms. It's not really good for that, but it's definitely a good warning sign indicator. And it works on all time frames, so it's much better on the longer term time frames. Like all moving averages and indicators, they're always better on the longer term time frames. You always catch the bigger moves, obviously, the harder, the further away you zoom out. So yeah, again, if it is going to bounce, this is the place for it to bounce. But if Bitcoin breaks down, then a significant breakdown, probably to around about 2 cents, I would imagine. Again, nice round figure corresponding to the center of that Bollinger Band. Let's have a look on the lower term time frames, 4 hourlies. So we're beneath the center of the Bollinger Band here. So. And that would correspond to, so 2 cents would be the breakdown area to pick it back up at if we do break down from here. We have a cross here. RSI is quite low, so if we did break down here, I would imagine it would be a decent springboard for it. To be honest, I think I do actually. Let's have a look at it on a weekly just for fun. Well, I mean, this was forced, contrived Ichimoku cloud cross because of the size of this pump over the last couple of weeks. So I wouldn't take too much from that. So the weekly is okay, but yeah, I would be careful. Like I say, stagger your buys. Maybe buy some here. If it breaks down, it would be 2 cents 2 cent for a buy. Right, so that's bet done. What else have we got in here? CVC, let's have a look at that, shall we then? So I mean, you guys are asking me to look at stuff that basically has moved massively. I wish you guys told me to buy these things, a few weeks ago. This one's bonkers. It's bonkers. Again, with something like this, it's done its move. It's moved already. Things, I mean, it is cryptocurrency. You can't really put any method to it, but that's 100% move in a couple of days. What's the most likely outcome? I mean, it's come back down. What I dread to think. What is this? 30%. So it's not too bad. But we're way off these moving averages. These things need to try and catch up with the price action. Generally speaking, so I wouldn't say buy this or anything like that. It depends where you got involved. If you got involved back here, then you could ride it out. But I can't really say what's going on the daily chart here. 4 hourly is looking, and 4 hourly looks like it wants more. To be honest with you, breaking down beneath all of these and again, I can't really. There's not much I can say for this. I mean, it looks like we want further down. We want to come further down. I think this area would be taken out because the MACD is the divergence on this MACD and the histogram is so strong, and I think it would push us below here. So you might even be looking at a reasonably large retrace on this. It's very difficult to say when something does that. Sorry, I can't be more help with that one, I'm afraid. When things just get ripped up like that, it almost ruins the technical analysis to an extent, because you want to try and have the edge, and you need these indicators to have the edge, but without the edge, it's kind of a guessing game. Do you know what I mean? FET. All right, so FET, I like FET, but I'm not liking the look of it particularly at the moment. But that's fine. So I trade with FET, or should I say I invest with FET. So there's a number of reasons why I do this, but I have all kinds of different methods of trading. So I trade spot, mostly spot trades, to be honest. I do some leverage trades. Obviously, I hand some over to the Bityard copy traders, just a little bit. I do bot trading, and I have a hodl account where I buy and tuck away and just leave it, forget about it. And this is one of those that I do that with, or I have been doing that recently. So, but looking at this chart right now, it doesn't look particularly good. Easily could see it coming back down to 50, 60, 62, 63, and maybe even some after that, maybe all the way back down to 55. In the event that the Bitcoin drops. In fact, I've just got rid of the Bitcoin chart. I kind of need to have that up all the time. That's a shame. This is annoying. I've just got it all set up here. I'll just do that. So So yeah, I mean, particularly it doesn't look very strong looking at it on this 4-hourly, and it's been very spiky, which is often a sign of indecision. So it's done some big moves up and basically come back down from it. I'm fine with all of that because I've been scaling in down at this, what I consider to be an accumulation zone. So I'm okay with it doing these sort of things. It's showing that there is people buying large amounts, and that's what those spikes are. But it's not showing that there's enough volume to keep the price up. So, but I'm fine with that. When I see spiky moves like this, it is exciting, but what I don't do is look at that and go, oh, I could have got out there. No, because my target for FET is not just here, it's beyond. Do you know what I mean? It's beyond. So when the alt season does begin, I think FET is going to benefit from that dramatically. And essentially what's going on here is it's been cooling off from this, and even to where we are at right now, 64% retracement, all the way back down here, 80%, 81% retracement. That's more or less a full retracement back there, and then we've been accumulating. So I'm okay with whatever it's doing right now. But for an entry point, it's difficult to say, but and we are about to get a golden cross on the daily, which is an important thing. We haven't had one of those in a while. We've retraced 81%, and now we're getting our first golden cross on the daily. So all of that is bullish for what I would expect to be the next few weeks. But yeah, you know, if we're looking at down the barrel of a gun with Bitcoin at the moment, which I believe we really are, then this could dump all the way back down into the 200 exponential and the golden cross, and that's something that you see quite frequently anyway. When a golden cross is being formed on whether it's the 4-hourly or the daily, it's not uncommon to see a dump into that. And then basically the buybacks will continue from there. So that wouldn't surprise me at all if we saw a dump all the way down to 55 cent. It's not 55, is it? It's 5.5 cent. I'm getting ahead of myself. So that's what I'm thinking with FET, to be honest. So yeah, I mean, but again, you know, I'm not trading it, I'm buying it, and I'm storing it away for what I consider to be a reasonable investment, because I'm looking to take this out, and I'm probably looking to get up to around about these levels, around 23 to 25 cent before I consider selling it, perhaps. And no, I don't think that that's too far away either. But again, you know, I'm trading this on a long-term time frame, and we're seeing signs of positivity here. Again, you know, this is a clear accumulation, like what we're seeing with EOS at the moment, where you're basically up and down above the major moving averages. You know, that's accumulation. It doesn't know which way it wants to go, and that's how to spot it. The moving averages are getting closer and closer to each other. You can't trade it, but you can stock up on it. Basically, it's one way to look at a chart like that. Okay, well, this is untradeable in many ways, but it's definitely doing something. It's basically crushing itself together. It's ready for that spring up. But yeah, at all, would not be surprised at all if we see a dump down into that golden cross. So that's FET then. eGold. Now eGold was something that I bought not a fair bit of, but it's worked out okay for me now. I remember seeing the way that Elrond behaved in the summer, and the chart as well. The chart looks ridiculous. You know, it basically looks like this. It came onto the market, went all the way back down, and then in the summer it went and rocketed. Probably one of the best performing altcoins of last year. And then they did the token swap, turned Elrond into eGold, and I bought some because there's only there's 20 million of them, so it's not scarce, but there's a lot less eGold than there is of anything else, generally speaking. You know, most of these tokens have millions, billions, and eGold only has 20 million. And the chart, like I say, of Elrond, it went crazy. So I kind of anticipated that it would do the same, and I was buying little bits of it all the way down, and I basically gave up, you know. And now it's done okay. But now what we're looking at is probably a retracement for the moment, okay? But just like anything else, check the moving averages. So what happened here on the first big run up, we had a big run up, and then we had a dump down to the center of the Bollinger Band where we rode that up. I probably imagine we're going to do the same thing now. Not to say that we can't continue up here. It's mega bullish. Fundamentally, it's strong. There's a finite amount of them. 20 million is not a lot when you've got a feeding frenzy of the entire world jumping onto cryptocurrency left, right, and center. 20 million isn't a lot, less Elrond than there is Bitcoin. And at the moment, it's $36, but I would still treat the chart as I would treat anything else, and I would wait for an entry point, a realistic entry point. This one, in my opinion, this one's going to do really well. It's gonna really outperform most alts. Just on the, like I say, on the fundamentals and the finite amount of them that there is, plus the way that it behaved when it was Elrond, now it's eGold. I think it's going to do very well this year. Easily, in my opinion, $100 easily do $100 by the end of this year. But is that where do you want to buy it in at? So I would always wait for an opportunity to buy in, unless you're in it already. If you are in it already, it depends where you got in. But again, long term, I think this one's a great one. I think this one's banging, to be honest with you. But yeah, we're quite overstretched. But I mean, look at this as well. So we're on a daily chart. Money flow index was high up here, and it's been coming down ever since. But the price has been going up. The way the money flow index works, it's like the RSI, but it involves volume as well as price. So the money flow index has been coming down all this time, and that's gone up. This RSI doesn't look particularly in any way actually worrying. We do have a lower high here, so that could say that yes, we're looking for a bit of a drop, to come down, not massively though. This is mega bullish, so yeah, maybe 27, maybe 27 at best, maybe 32. This is bullish long term. Again, it's a small chart, so you can't really look at it in any other way. And essentially, it's made a new all-time high. So blue sky breakout, can't really give you any figures, but long term, really good. eGold, I'll be holding on to mine. That's part of my little nano collection where I store everything over into the ledger. What else should we have a look at? Bybit. Let's have a look at that. Alright, so yeah, a lot of these charts are looking the same. They're coming down to test the first wave of moving averages. So first support here, not too fussed about that. The chart looks a little spiky, a little messy though. It's not very old. On Binance that would be. Let's go to a lower term. Alright, so in this instance is not looking as strong, so probably I'd imagine it come down a little bit more before it carries on. The only reason I say that is that we've got a clear rejection here from the centre of the Bollinger Band, which suggests that we will stay beneath it for the moment. It's curving over, so it's going a little bit flat. But we've done this before, and we found support on the green 50 exponential. So if we're above here, if we stay above here for a couple more of these candles, then everything will be okay. Reclaiming each one of these is like another leg up. So yes, we broke down beneath that. We did that before. We saw how it reacted. Very strong reaction on the 4-hourly, and then pushed our way back up again. And now we're coming back down to test this again. So, but again, the problem is that now these are kind of curling over if you look at them. So at the moment, this is the trading range. This between these two moving averages, that's what the trading range would be. Which is 4%. So it's not great for if you look to play this one in the short term. Let's have a look. Okay, so weekly, looks okay to me. So we've got our bottom here, tested the bottom here, rallied, and then broke down 1, 2, and then away, and then this looks like a big shakeout for what would then be the inevitable push up. So I think something's going on with this coin, probably behind the scenes. Somebody knows something that we don't, looking to get in there and shake people out. I think that's what happened there. But long term, I can't say. but I do believe that we're about to enter an alt season, but that might not be before a giant dump. So if we do dump, you know, this would probably be one of those ones I'd want to pick up in many ways. And if we did come down to these lower levels from where we are at right now, what's all the way down to the bottom is a 38% move. That's not out of the realms of possibility if Bitcoin dumped by 10%, which it could do. So yeah, I mean, I'd have some buy orders on this one. You know, again, stagger your buys. By the way, I'm not a financial advisor, so this isn't financial advice. This is what I would do if I was trading Digibyte. I don't expect you to follow my instructions. I'd like you to do your own thing. But if I was to play this, that's how I would do it. It looks like there's something going on with it that we don't quite know about. It was interesting to see that there was a giant shakeout there. But yeah, and the recovery from it was strong. But yeah, I think it will come back down again. So yeah, buy orders maybe around 2.5. Where else was significant? 2.1 as well. 2.1's where we found supports and resistances at these almost close to the lower levels. I think it's going to come down basically, but I think it'll have a springboard jump, not short, you know, not too far after that. All right, let's have a quick look. We've done CVC, we've done FET, done eGold, done FET. Coty, let's have a look at Coty, shall we? So if you like this sort of live stream stuff, if you think it's useful, you know, and there's value to it, join the Patreon. This is what it's all about. You know, £7.50 a month. I'll be doing 2 of these every week. So I'll try and get through as many as I can. The missus is going to look after the kids if they start acting up, so I've got protected time. I won't be interrupted unless the house burns down. Right, let's have a look. So a strong move, big strong move, consolidation, reaccumulation, avoided a death cross, which is good. This is like what happened with Chainlink, so I think this one's probably going to go up, continue to go up. No reason to dispute that this is going to continue to go up, to be honest with you. MACD's turning up as well. RSI is looking okay. Money flow index is okay. That's the daily. Let's have a look on the 4 hourly. Okay, so it's coming back down from its high over the last couple of days. Yeah, a little death cross, a little golden cross doesn't really count for much. It's bullish in my opinion. This one's bullish. You know, yeah, I think most of these things have had a little run recently, but I think they're all going to do very well. I think this one looks like a decent performer over time. So I can't really give you a particular buy-in area. Maybe if we were lucky, we could get it down at 5 cents, maybe, and then I would imagine it to carry on and make some all-time highs. I don't see a problem with that. I think that this is quite likely in the alt season, which I'm anticipating, you know, with or without the dump, this alt season will take place when we reach around 73% dominance. It might take place before that, but yeah, I don't see any reason to doubt what I've just looked at there. I think this one's a good bullish chart. It reminds me of Chainlink, to be honest with you. Back in last year, it crept up, did a big move, massive consolidation quite quickly from there, and then basically springboarded again. 71% retracement from there, and now we're back up again. So yeah, it's highly volatile, but I think these areas will be taken out, not immediately. You know, I'm not talking like in the next few weeks or anything like that, but it does look okay to me. I like it. Elrond, we've done Elrond. Quite a lot of comments here actually. There's quite a few people. I didn't expect to have this kind of response to the old live streams. Bitcoin, we've done Bitcoin, I'm afraid, mate. ADA, let's have a look at that. So that's been pumping recently, so I imagine we don't want to look at it on Bitcoin. We're going to have a look at Tether. Yeah, I mean it's overstretched, I think, now, but this was dead for a long time. Yeah, I traded it in 2019, and then it just died, and I left it alone. I just forgot all about it. I don't know why it's had such a renaissance. I have theories that the money is coming out of XRP and going into, you know, what I call the dinosaur coins, you know, the older altcoins. But personally, I don't really know why it's rallied so hard so fast. But when it does do something, or when anything does something like that, I have to expect it to come down. Like I say, I trade on risk, and risk to me looks reasonably high. That's the money flow on the daily, so it can obviously go higher. This is it on the weekly, and it can obviously go higher. But the risk to me is quite high. Let's have a look at that wick. Well, that's a 20% wick almost right there on the weekly. So yeah, difficult one to say. I mean, you could try and FOMO into it if you liked. I prefer to find a token that hasn't yet made its move, and I think this one, in my opinion, it's played out enough for me to stay away from it and try and find a better opportunity. But it's done really well. I mean, it's almost trying to arch it. If this starts to form like what could be a giant cupping handle, over the next month or so, then yeah, we're talking big moves on this one. Again, it could be big moves, and to be honest with you, a cupping handle could only, it could bring us down to these levels, and maybe a little lower, maybe 25 cent, 26 cent. But that's me anticipating a formation that hasn't yet formed, so it's not really appropriate for me to do something like that. But when you see a chart look like this, it is saying that something is going to happen to it this year, and I never thought I'd see the day that it would make a new all-time high, but I think we will. But right now, I mean, I'd be too scared to get involved in it. I'd be looking for a coin that hasn't made its move, or it's got a better setup. This isn't a setup as such, and unless we come down and start bouncing from these moving averages, it's not a setup to get involved. But the chart overall, it's gone crazy, and it'll likely do well this year. Right, let's have a look at some more of these then. What's the time? All right, so we've been doing it for an hour. We'll do it for a bit longer. But again, if you're a part of the Patreon, guys, I know I'm plugging the Patreon, but if you join the Patreon, guys, I will have particularly longer live streams. I'll make sure all the Patreon questions are answered. What shall we look at? Right, I don't know how to pronounce that H bar. Right, well, I mean, just from what I've just seen before I even clicked that as well, 41% up today. I don't know what you want me to say, to be honest. I don't know what you want me to say about that. What I can say is that we've done something similar to this in the past, and it's not worked out very well for the people who wanted to get in after this kind of move has been made. So look at the state of that. So this is a 2-day move. That's over 2 days, 341. Why don't people tell me about these coins, before they happen? I mean, basically, who would have known? I don't know what happened, why that happened, but who would have known? Again, with this one, I don't know why this has happened. I got no idea why. The moving averages, I suppose you could say that there's a very brief period of accumulation, but even if there was, it wasn't enough for me to have got involved at these levels. So I don't know if anything happened. If anyone can tell me, did something happen to cause that? Because the chart isn't telling me that it wanted to do that. Maybe it was on the lower term time frame. So I suppose, yeah, if you look at this on the 4 hourly, I suppose it looks a bit more like an accumulation phase, up and down, zigzag, above and below, both, all the moving averages, above and below, above, below, above, below, above, below, and then finally this big push here. We got the golden cross. So maybe this could have been traded actually if looked at on the lower term time frames. But for the moment, I think the move has been made, and I'll be too scared to get into a coin like this now. Not to say that it can't make higher moves. The last one, this giant wick here took place over 2 days, and this is essentially, I'd call this giant move 1 day. So you could have continuation, but who knows? Bitcoin's breaking, I suppose. Is it breaking down here? Oh, I hate it when it does this silly thing here. That's so annoying. That's a sign that Binance is struggling if they can't present you with a decent trading view. Right. And the daily. So it's still holding okay. The daily open. We're looking for areas of, I suppose, 39 to break, 39, yeah, we call it 39 to break down from, and maybe close beneath there on a 4 hourly for us to get particularly worried, and it's not happened. So sorry to bore you with that. Oh, what happened to CNS? Has that just... Oh right, I got excited then. I thought it had dumped all the way down to 4, but that's the Satoshis. Sorry about that. Don't buy CNS just because I'm looking at it here. It's more of a running joke in the Telegram. It's not really anything other than that. A running joke and a big regret. Right, what was I looking at before? HBAR. So yeah, I mean the last time something similar to this happened, it took place over 2 days, so there could be more to it. And the only thing I would look at would be to get out at these highs. I can't tell you any more than that. I wouldn't touch this now, unfortunately. I wouldn't touch it. Chainlink, good call. It used to be all the rage, didn't it? Very fashionable once upon a time. And now we rarely speak of it. So yeah, you can see I did a little bit of analysis back in the olden days on this one. So yeah, giant move up, massive bubble burst, crash all the way back down, and basically hold the and spring back up from the 200 exponential moving average. You can see how important moving averages are. Right, like I say, in the Patreon, I will be teaching these things. But you know, even to the untrained eye, you can see that there's method to them, and that there's method to this. So ascending channels always, well, not always, they often break down, more likely to break down. So we were waiting for this to break down, and it broke down. And where did it hold above? Well, we had this super mega shakeout wick here, an anomaly wick all the way down here. Ridiculous. I don't know what happened there, but it did. But generally the candle bodies were closing above the 200 exponential moving average, and that's always a sign of reasonable strength. No death cross happened on this one, and this one is one of those interesting coins, right? We've been looking at this, I've been looking at this for a long time now. So the big move happened here, right? Consolidation down, 200 exponential, moved up, I suppose a little dip behind it, but never got the death cross. All right, so just bear this in mind. Never got a death cross. It's been bullish since all the way back down here, right? Obviously bullish from all the way back down here. So all the way up, sailed along here, didn't get the death cross. All the way up, back down again, didn't get the death cross. All the way up, all the way back down, and we've still not got the death cross. This has been bullish since all the way back in May last year. It's been bullish this whole time. Usually what you see when something pumps and dumps like this is that it dumps to the point where you do get a 50 exponential cross over the 200, and this has never happened. It's always avoided it. It's always got close to it and just always avoided it, which would, you know, I can't say I've ever seen it before, anything behave like that, where you have giant moves up and giant moves down and never get a death cross. I mean, look at this, all the way from the top to the bottom, 62% retracement. So, I mean, there's no reason to doubt that Chainlink is still bullish and will continue to be bullish probably for the rest of the year. Probably never get that death cross. It'll probably avoid it its entire life. Maybe one day it'll get it, and it'll be a shame to see. But for the moment, I've got no reason to dispute that this is a really good coin with, you know, that's going to continue to go up unless something happens fundamentally to it, you know. But as far as the chart's concerned, it's spiky, it's all over the place, but buy it long term, I'm sure it'll work out. But right now, I suppose that's what you want to know about, isn't it, really? I don't know what am I talking about. That's the worst analysis anyone's ever given. Right this minute, I mean, again, it's like most of these alts. They're holding above the major moving averages, and this one's doing the same. So providing Bitcoin doesn't break down, it's bullish from here. Yeah, it is bullish from here. The buy zone would have been at the 10 exponential here. Like everything is doing, they're all following the same thing. They want to continue up. They're waiting for the big boy here to work out what it wants to do. Preferably, it wants to go sideways, or just allow for a giant dump so everyone can get back into the game again. So yeah, it's holding the 10 exponential. If it were to break down, it's difficult really, because it is quite a volatile coin. So I wouldn't want to try and play it safe and say get in around about 12 or 13. It could come down all the way down to the 10 exponent, the 200, which it likes to do all the time. But anytime it comes down to that level, it's a buy, because it's been that way for you know, a long time, since forever. So it's always a buy at these zones. Right, that's Chainlink then. I hope that satisfied you. Right, let's have a look at Algorand. So this is one of the coins I've been dealing with actually. Quite pleased with it, but it could be better. So daily, got our golden cross here. That's fine. Again, you know, the reason I traded this, we've got our accumulation phase. So big move up, zigzag across all the major moving averages. Untradeable, but accumulation zone nonetheless. And this is one of the reasons why I'm calling for the alt season, because so many alts look like this. They've all had their big move and they've all come back down, consolidated, and most of them are accumulating around these zones, telling me that these areas up here, and again, you know, there's lots of coins like this. These areas up here want to be taken out. So when the alt season happens, you can basically look at the last big pump that they had, generally speaking, and expect them to be taken out and surpassed. But for the moment, you know, just the same as everything else. You know, it's had its rally, it's holding above the 10 exponential. It wants to know if it can go any further. It's asking nicely to Bitcoin, can I go any further? As far as the daily chart is concerned, again, I have no reason to doubt that it is bullish. It's got its golden cross. We're above this major moving average. If we come back down, we could come down to 37. We could even come back down to 33. And again, dumping into a golden cross is not uncommon. You could argue that's what happened here. The golden cross is essentially incoming, and we dumped back down into it, and then we rallied. So that's very common, and you know, the golden cross is in play now. And the moving averages are diverging nicely. We're getting our little spread, a rainbow spread. It's not a technical term, it's my own term, but it's basically where all the moving averages are getting further and further apart in the appropriate positions. We've got the 200, the 50, the 20, the 10, and the 7, which is good. The only problem is that we've broken down beneath the 7, but you know, it's no big deal at the moment. I still look at this chart right now, seeing the first stages of what could be a continued move up and back up to its previous top, and then hopefully beyond that. Right, I don't know how many messages I've got here to go through. Well, it's quite a few. Let's have a look at some more then, shall we? Anchor. Let's have a look at Anchor then, shall we? Alright, so I mean, Anchor's not all that bad. It's a bit weird actually, a little bit weird. Golden cross back here on the daily, sailed all the way up here, and then consolidated, holding above the 200. So that is all still good, all well and good. But it's failed to launch. But actually, looking at it now, it looks like it could. I mean, we're talking maybe weeks from now, but considering we've held this level since the consolidation, we've not broken down beneath it, I don't think it's particularly bearish at all, and we're in an uptrend. Let's see if there's any method to this. It's not particularly structured, but there is something to it. So it could be considered that it's at support now. That's pretty rough and ready there. Is there any more madness to this? Nah, not really. There's no resistance zone to it, just a support, which is good. So what I would say is, yeah, I like it. I think this is turning up on it now, which is nice. Money flow index had a pretty low read down here. So that's not a buy signal, but it's suggesting that it's less likely to make a much lower low than that low that it made back down there, which again was the 200 exponential. And so even if it did dump from where we are at right now, which would come down to here, it's a 10% move. It's not all that bad, and this is bullish generally. You know, it's a bullish coin. Yeah. This is, I suppose, could be an ascending channel though, but not really, but kind of, but not really. I'm not going to measure the wicks, but it could be considered as an ascending channel, which, like I said before, statistically do break to the down, but I take that with a pinch of salt, because I'm measuring wicks there, and that's not really appropriate. But yeah, I mean, it looks okay to me, and I like the token. It's made some big moves in the past, and I think it'll do them again. So hopefully we're at support now, but obviously if we break down from support, we do have a little bit further to go before we get considerably worried. But I wouldn't worry too much about that. I like it. Let's have a quick look at the lower term time frames. Yeah, I like it. Coming out with a 4 hourly here. We do have a death cross, unfortunately, but it might be negated. So maybe it does break that support, and if it did, then I would be looking at picking it up, perhaps maybe 0077, maybe 0074. I don't think it's got a great deal further to fall if it did break down. It's all dependent on the market, you know what I mean? We started this live stream by talking about how Bitcoin could dump down into 35,000. So, you know, that would hurt alts definitely, and then we'd have to reassess the whole situation. But you know, judging the chart on its own, which is we always have to look at the chart on its individual merit, it looks pretty good in all fairness, riding up that support level. Right, I think I'm just going to do a few more of these, to be honest. Link, we've done that. Link. ADA, done that. Link. XRP, we've done that. Yeah, I think we've exhausted the request list. So I think I'll leave it there. But like I say, if you like this idea, if you like this forum, if you like doing this live stream stuff, and you like having your questions answered, and you want to know more about TA, join the Patreon, join my Telegram channel anyway. I pop my head in there every now and then. It's getting so busy in there though that there's a massive community, and I'm so happy to see it grow to that extent. I never thought it would pick up like it has, but it's gone massive. So I'm really grateful to all of you for being part of that and keeping it going, because it's the lads and ladies who are in there that actually keep it alive. I duck in and out. I'm dyslexic, so to go through when I wake up in the morning, 700 messages, I just, you know, it'd take me all day to read what I'd missed in the night. So yeah, thanks to everybody who's in there. Really appreciate it. There's a good community in there now, and I'm really buzzing about it, to be honest. And all the subscribers to the channel love it. Like I say, if you want to join the Patreon, do it. There will be perks in there, but I will still respond to the best of my ability to anyone who wants to pose any question to me on Telegram anyway. But I am so busy that sometimes it's just finding the time. So it's not me being rude if I don't get back to you about something. It's just me not being able to manage my time, which I basically don't have a great deal of. But anyway, thanks for watching, and take it easy, and let's hopefully have a good green weekend. If Bitcoin can behave itself, then I think the alts will move this weekend. Thanks for watching.